Hi everyone, welcome to our Mistletoe Crossing Live. Today we are using the book Art to Heart Mistletoe Crossing on Wander Lane. This is a block of the month type of series. So we have all 12 of the books now in our shop, and I'm working on creating YouTube videos for the center blocks using some embellishment techniques and that type of thing. But today we're going to focus on this little guy right down here. He was the little guy that you saw on the preview page, and that's what we're going to work on today. I am going to turn him into a notebook cover. So the first thing that I did was, well, I only work when I'm doing these little projects like this, especially when I'm doing notebook covers, I only work with scraps. And so I wanted to do something winter-ish and found this gorgeous, I don't know why I had so much of it in my scrap box, but I have just enough to make a notebook cover. I like to use, for my notebooks, I use composition books because they're just cheap. So I can get, $1 for a composition notebook. And so this cover is going to go on like this, and my little bird is going to go right in the center here. Okay. This fabric, I pre-treated it by doing a whole bunch of starch. I think I starched it twice, wetted it down, let it dry a little bit, ironed it, wet it down, let it dry a bit, ironed it again. And so now you can see how it fits on the notebook just as snug. And I'm going to finish the notebook the next live. And so it might be next. I can't remember when we'll schedule it, but no problem. So this is a 2-part series. We're going to do a whole bunch of embellishment today, I hope. I have learned in the past couple weeks from Catherine Zimmerman, who is a amazing quilter and has won numerous awards. I have learned a new technique from her. And so I have now 3 techniques for applique under my belt. And I have found that each one is going to do something different that I like. So we're practicing with this technique. I've decided after practicing with this technique on this particular project that I probably would have stuck with the heat and bond technique for this project, but that's okay. I am going to use my heat and bond technique to do my embellishment of using, this is the first time I've ever done this, so we're going to find out how this works. I'm going to use Minky for the ball on his cap and for the ruffle on his cap. So this is going to be an interesting experiment that you guys are going to all enjoy watching. All right, so Catherine Zimmerman's technique is that we take and use a nice, it's like a stable, it's a tearaway, but it is, actually it's not a tearaway. This is not the tearaway. I'm screwing this all up. Sorry, Catherine, if you're watching. So this is Ricky Tim's Soft and Stable, and it's like a stabilizer. It's got some weight to it. It's not going to stretch or anything like that. And so what I did was I traced and cut out my pieces exactly. And so I'm not quite sure, Derek, if you could, Derek is my backstage, and Alice, my mom, is here. She's going to demonstrate because I wanted to do some embellishment, especially because we had a customer come in today who fell in love with some of the embellishment I showed her before. So I'm going to do a little bit of embellishment just to give it a little oomph. And so mom's going to teach us how to do yo-yos, which I learned how to do last week, but that's okay.
It's a different technique.
Different technique. So, okay. So this, I'm not sure if you can see with the other camera, Derek, I can't see. So this, I have cut my branch out, and I even labeled it because I put all my pieces into an envelope just like this. And so I wanted to make sure I didn't mix anything up. So I have cut my branch, and I've cut my my leaf, or I guess it's the pine needles from my pine branch here. And those are I have 3 things left to do. And so I wanted to show you how you do curves, and the straights are easy. So I just left them for being easy. So we're going to start with a nice straight piece. And the wonderful thing about applique is that I get to use all my scraps, and I get to play with different colors and I don't know. It's just I get to create pictures. So that's why I love applique. And every technique has its place. I have always had two techniques. I did a freezer paper technique where I use starch and iron over. This technique is using the paper here, and then we're going to glue over. So you still have um, that nice edge so that when you wash it or whatever, it's not going to ravel. I usually save the technique of the heat and bond for projects that will not be washed much because it can tend to ravel a little bit. And so that's why I kind of like I save my freezer paper technique from those projects that are going to be washed. I also like the freezer paper technique. This paper is going to stay within my quilt, which means it's going to give it a nice crisp look all the time. And it is washable. It is a cotton fiber type of stabilizer, so it is washable. But I would probably reserve this technique for things I am wanting some stiffness, but I want to be able to fold over. And that's the difference. With the heat and bond, you have a straight edge. With the freezer paper, you can take that freezer paper out, making your fabric smooth. And with this technique, you're leaving this in so that you have a nice crisp fold over technique. If you are doing show quilts, this is the technique you probably want to use because it keeps all your stuff crisp. And if you're doing show quilts, well, then you're not necessarily you're not necessarily going to wash those quilts. In fact, show quilts often don't ever get washed. All right, so I am using with this glue stick. This one's the Quilter Select glue stick. I love it. It is refillable, so I can simply turn this and I get more glue, and then I can refill it when I'm done. I have now done several projects with one glue stick. I finally had to refill last night. That's the first time I've had refill. So
Are we carrying that now, or are we going to?
We are carrying Quilter Select, and then there's another one we are also carrying, and we are carrying the refills. So if this technique or any project, I mean, the reason why I got this stick to begin with was to do curves. I was using it to hold down my curves, and I was like, will this hold down my curve before I go and I was impressed. It does. It really sticks down there. So now I'm going to cut. I probably can get up nice and close with the camera. I am going to cut about a 1/4 inch away from the paper. And all the way around. Derek, am I in? Derek is going to have to be quite,
Okay.
he's going to have to be quite vocal. That's not Derek's thing, as to telling me if I'm in camera or not. I'm okay. So when I'm doing my cutting down, I have where are you? Or not cutting down, when I'm doing I'm going to use you. Catherine was very specific about making sure you're on some sort of piece of paper or something. We are working with glue here after all. And then I am going to start on the inside. So if I'm going for a concave curve, I'm going to go ahead and snip that corner there so that I get nice and crisp there. And then all I do is glue down here. And then I have this tool right here. It's just a turner, and I actually have a ton of them at the shop. And I just start in the center and then go to the end, and see how quickly that goes. And the difference between this and the freezer paper technique is that I'm not burning my fingers. I kept wanting to go to the iron when I started this process. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not burning my fingers. I have a tendency to burn my fingers quite a bit when I'm doing the freezer paper technique. And so see how quickly I can just glue this down? I love it. And then starting in the center. Derek, let me know if I'm in camera, out of camera. I'm fine. And then over here at this corner right here, I thought this would be wonderful starting off. I can see how that one I want to just fold right over. And so it took me a minute to like, she also mentioned that one of the things I can do is I can crease that a little bit, and that will make turning it over a little bit crisper. Right there. So I thought that was really cool.
Your stick is like an extra finger.
Right. And it gets right in there. And I usually, when I'm doing my freezer paper technique, have always used my, tweezers or something like that. And that has helped. Now, when I do these edges here, I do cheat a little bit. She was very good about like making sure everything fits in really well. And I'm new at this, and this is not a show quilt. So it's gonna go over like that. And then I'm clipping it off. And then the really cool thing about this glue thing is that I can sort of go in here and just sort of glue that edge. And just, I mean, I was just really impressed with how I could get rid of all those. I can't right now because I'm on camera and y'all are watching me, but that's okay. And then I got one more side here, and then I'm gonna show you the other one, and then I'll show you how to do curves. Curves are the best. And again, I could have creased that one. Maybe it would have gone over, but I'm trying to do it a little quick. And now I have a tree branch. And it doesn't need to be straight because it's a tree branch. And I'm an instant gratification quilter. I am not a perfection quilter. Okay, so let's do this guy. The reason why I wanted to do this guy is because he's a little bit on the more difficult side. Notice how he has, well, I'll show you this. So look at, that's just, you never should look at the back of anyone's work, but I'm sharing. This is why I probably would have chosen the freezer paper technique, not freezer paper technique, the heat and bond technique. And the reason why I use heat and bond over steam-a-seam is I feel like steam-a-seam has always gummed up my needle a little bit more, and that slows me down. Instant gratification here. Heat and bond has never gummed up my needle. So I like heat and bond a little bit better than I like steam-a-seam. Steam-a-seam has its wonderful qualities though, of you can stick it down and see it, and it doesn't move all over the place. Heat and bond, on the other hand, you have to, once you iron that sucker down, he's down and not going anywhere. And of course, you know, when you want it to stay, it doesn't, but when you're needing to pick it up, it is stuck to that fabric like it is a part of it. And so I found these a little bit more on the difficult side, and I maybe just need to practice a little bit more. Remember, I've only learned this technique in the past week or so. And so probably there are steps I'm leaving out that I need to continue to learn on my own with practice. And everybody has their own way of doing things, and that is just fine. Whatever works for you to make your project fun and easy or fun and perfect. This is therapy. This is not work. And so if this is work for you, then this is not what you need to be doing. You need to figure out an easier or more fun way to do it. I know applique is not everybody's thing. And let me tell you, the heat and bond method is definitely the way I would go most of the time. What? I am out of frame. Okay, here. Am I in frame? I'm in frame again. Okay, cool. Thank you, Derek. Okay, so now I wanted to get the hard parts out of the way. To me, the hard parts are going to be the crooks here. And so I went ahead and did both sides like that. And maybe there is an easier way to do this. And I'm also using this pointy side of this stick and pushing it in like that and like that. And so you can see how it's not giving me like the crisp look. I'll show you in just a second. Okay, you can see how it's not giving me that crisp look at the center, but I don't really want to do any more there. I don't want to go any further in. And Catherine showed me that if you simply put a little bit of glue on there and go in like that, it looks really nice. And you get rid of all those frayed pieces. Here we go. And then I'm going to do this side, and you just don't have much fabric to fold over here. That's what makes this. I'm sorry, Derek, am I in line? You just don't have much fabric here, and so this is a great experiment for me to decide it's not how I want to do things in the future with this type of. But it's giving me great practice. So I want to make sure that right here. Oops. Oh, these are Karen Buckley scissors, and man, I am in love. Oh, I did snip that already. Okay, good. So you want to make sure those concave corners are snipped so that they'll go over nice and easy. Let's switch to this side. So I've got a flat edge. And you notice how I always go from the center out. That has definitely been an eye-opening experience. When I go to do my freezer technique, I think I will be making sure I'm going from the center out. Let's make sure. Yep, you're cut too. I did a good job cutting everything. This is a little bit time consuming. It is the type of thing that I sat down in front of the television and did. I got all of it done in about a half an hour, except for this stuff last night. And so if you enjoy, I enjoy things like that in front of the television, simply so that I don't feel like I'm wasting my time watching television. So I'm getting something done while I'm watching TV. I'm being productive. It may not be cleaning my house, but I'm being productive. House cleaning is definitely overrated. I did do the dishes before I started. And then I was like, sorry, gotta go sew. Have a live tomorrow. All right, a couple little more pieces. Meanwhile, mom's over here hand sewing next to me.
Oh, I'm just getting it so that
it's ready to go.
Take me forever to.
Right. She is going to use a yo-yo maker to make our little ornament. I love it.
I'm cheating.
I did learn how to make yo-yos last week, but she's going to do the cheat way. And I'm just going to try and get these things in before I knock this over. It is a pine needle, so it is supposed to be a little on the spiky side. Well, I'm making it good and spiky. I'm not quite sure that's how Nancy Halverson, who wrote the book, wanted it to, look, but that's all right. And I'm just going to trim off a little bit there to make it a little bit more. All right. It looks like a mess. It really does. But when I turn it over, it's going to be great. I'm out of frame. Okay, all I'm doing is snipping a little bit out here. There we go. So yes, he's not perfect, but instant gratification here. And I'm doing it fast. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to show you was, am I in frame? Am I in frame? The last thing I wanted to show you was the wing. So I have a nice curve here, and I want to make sure that I get all that in. And so I'm going to start over here by I'm going to go ahead and glue it right here. And then I am going to start in the center and hold that down with my finger, hopefully so that you can see. And I'm just going to, and as she was like light as a feather, you're just going to come in here and get those down. And it's amazing how that curve takes shape. And then you go over here to the end. I don't think I glued that yet. Go into the end, and you can just ease that in. And a little bit more glue in there. Here we go. And I think I'm going to put a little bit more glue down here just so that I have it starting in the center. Going up here, just light as a feather until you get it in, and then you can really glue it in. And then I found that when I had a whole bunch of fabric down here at the end, just sort of trim some of this off because it'll fold better. So I did a lot of trimming. And then I want to have some glue over here on this fabric to hold it down too. There we go. We have a wing. Not totally beautiful. If I just spent a little bit more time on it, it would be gorgeous. But nobody will ever know once I get it stitched down. All right, so now I have all my pieces. Oh, no, wait, I don't. So I was going to show you, I better turn my iron on. I was going to show you the, I'm trying something new today, and that is I'm going to use Minky, and we're going to see how the Minky works. But I want to use, for the Minky, I'm going to use the Heat and Bond. I'm too nervous to not use that Heat and Bond. And so I thought this would give me the opportunity to show you how I trace this out. So I've got my pattern here, and so I will take my pencil, and I want to do the brim of the hat right here for my Minky. And so I am tracing on, with Heat and Bond, you have a glue side and a paper side. I'm tracing on the paper side. That's already reversed. And the same thing was going with the other stuff that I was using. And so now all I do is cut this out. Now I don't want to cut this out right on the line like I did before. I want to cut this out so that I have a little bit on the outside. That way when I go to cut the Minky, it sort of gives it a cleaner edge. All right. So where did my Minky go? There she is. And then my brother mentioned that if I was going to try this with this Minky, that I might want to stabilize the Minky before I do that. And so he gave me a fusible cloth. It's a wonderful, we use it for our t-shirt stuff and for anything that we're doing Minky to stabilize it when we're doing our designs for our stuffed animals and stuff like that. And so I don't do that. My brother does, and my niece. So I want to make sure though that it looks like I can go anyway. Oh, I want to go this way, so that my pile will go down. So I am going to bring over my iron here and iron that on. My iron is just warming up, so it might take a second. I want to make sure it's good and ironed down. Heat and Bond needs some good heat sometimes, especially if I'm working on something like this. And then before I cut the Heat and Bond, I want to make sure that I am letting it cool. I don't want to, I don't want to cut it warm, it shifts. Like that glue just goes all over the place. So there we go. All right, so now I have my little brim and she's nice and cool. So now I can cut this out. And like I tell you, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this, but I thought it might be fun. So, and if you've ever used Minky before, you know that it's getting ready to snow because Minky sheds like you would not believe.
But since it's stabilized, it may not shed as bad.
Right? So you can see how it's sort of, that is normal for Minky to shed like that. And so if you're ever using Minky, beware that you're going to need to vacuum and it sheds worse than a dog.
What we do is after it's cut, Willer takes it out to the parking lot and
shakes it out in the parking lot. It's hilarious. All right, I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way, show you another, I'm going to let you throw that away for me, please. And so instead of ironing everything down, because normally I use heat and bond, I am going to bring out my notebook, make sure that I actually am putting my notebook in here. Let me make sure that I have it the way I want it. Okay, get over here. Okay, so I have the notebook cover the way I want it, and I've left a good 1/4 of an inch all the way around. And so now I'm going to place my things, because I'm not placing it on a square like it is placed in the thing. I'm just going to put it on here however I feel like putting it on here. There's also some hand stitching involved today, but I am not going to do that. I'm going to wait and do that, and it'll just happen before you guys come back the next time. And so it'll just magically happen. Okay, so the nice thing about when I have freezer paper, Derek, I'm not sure if you're on, where are you at? Are you on the little camera or the big camera? Both, I'm in both. Okay, good, good, good. Okay, so I'll move it this way so that sort of I'm getting it in both. Is that good? Excellent. Okay, so this little bird is going to have his feet and his, so I kind of want to closer to the branch. And then he's got this ornament that Mom's going to work on, but we're going to add that last. And so I'm just I am going to pull out my pattern so I can sort of get an idea of where these things were supposed to go. All right, so she's really good about giving you the pattern that has the what things are on there, and this also has some button attachments. We will do that next time so I have some extra stuff that's going to go on before we actually put the notebook together. Okay, so here is his little scarf, and then here's his wing. Let's see, his wing probably needs to go, how does his wing go? His wing goes like this. Okay, so his wing goes like that. And it can go however I want it to go.
And you're working upside down.
I am working upside down. It's killing me here. So kind of goes like this. So I'll have to turn it around to make sure I'm doing this right. My big branch goes over here. I want to make sure that I leave that 1/4 of an inch or whatever on my notebook so that I am doing okay. And then down here, this one goes this way. Okay, cool. And then this one goes down here. And this is the yo-yo that my mom's going to show us how to make in just a second. And this is going to be the ornament that comes like this. I wanted to stuff it a little bit. And so I want to make sure. Yeah. We're going to stuff it. She's going to show you how to do that in just a second. So then the beak. Oh, don't forget the beak. I mean, this is what makes the whole bird, right? Right there. He's going to have a little bit of an eye here that I will do with a little bit of hand stitching. And then here is his hat. And there is, look at that. So this is why I love applique. He will have some little red buttons that we'll put on next time. And so, yeah, that's where we're headed. And let me show, I'm going to turn it over to Mom while I get the sewing machine set up. And she's going to show you how to make this adorable yo-yo so we can stuff it, so we can give a little bit more definition. And then we'll have a little string coming down next week with some hand sewing. All right, so I'm going to move this over your way, move my glasses out of the way. And
Well, this is a Cricut yo-yo maker.
Clover. Clover yo-yo maker.
yo-yo
Yep.
maker.
And we have all of it. We have all this stuff.
Well, we don't have this size right now, but it's going to get ordered. And
It's ordered. Yep.
And we're also going to order this is the large, or there's extra large, and there's a jumbo one too that we're going to order because I have a pattern for an elf that I can make using yo-yos. So anyway, with this one, I've already gotten it.
Move it closer to you.
Okay, I've already done everything I need to do because it takes a little time.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, give him just a second. Too close? That's better?
Okay, so what you do with this one is you have your fabric there, you put it here, and then you lock your fabric in with this section right here, and then you stitch around, and you have to make sure that you stitch from here to here through the hole, because if you stitch there to there, it's gonna, I've done it before because it's been a long time, but I used to make yo-yos all the time. And if you stitch it from there to there, you can't take it off. So this one's, I stitched it all the way around. So you can see this. And as I did it, I turned, with that one, I didn't turn it down. So that one is not really reversible, but this one will be reversible. And then you peel this off. And with this one, since I don't know how much padding you want.
Yeah, that's probably perfect.
Okay. And then you just pull the threads. So let's find the beginning. And I was reading the directions on this thing, and it said go through the first one twice, but that doesn't give you an extra one to pull from the other side. So I'm just going to have to pull it one way because I did this one the way the directions said. I like the other way better.
There she goes.
But these yo-yo makers have been around forever. I have a set at home. But it's a lot easier than having to do each. So this one, because I folded it under, you can either have it either way. You can have it face up or face down because this one's finished off. But I came in this morning dressed more festive than usual because I sing in Sweet Adelines in Asheville. And tonight we'll be singing at Gross Methodist Church for Return to Bethlehem. Because since we're a nonprofit group, we also have to sing for community things that we're not able to be paid for. Certain things we're paid for. We sang at Biltmore House on Tuesday night, and it was absolutely gorgeous.
They have entertainment every night, right?
Yeah, they have entertainment every night, and we usually get one time because there are so many people who want to sing there. But occasionally they'll have a group that has to drop out, and we've sung there a couple of times before, but not this year. I don't think we're going to do it this year. And then of course we had enough people coming in that we went all the way till 9:30.
Wow.
And that we did 5 sets, and it's half hour on, half hour off. But
right, and so you get to go visit the Biltmore too while you're there, right?
Yeah. And last year they filmed in January, I guess they filmed a movie for Hallmark.
Oh, wow.
called Christmas at Biltmore, and they have I haven't seen it, but it has something to do with an hourglass, and I got to see the hourglass.
Oh, fun.
And it was really pretty. But I told Allison, I said I'm gonna do a plug for my chorus.
Yeah.
So I sing in Song of Sky Chorus, and it's an international group. And
she's much more festive than I am.
Yeah.
I'm in my regular.
And I have makeup on. Wow.
Right?
Anybody who comes in the store knows I don't wear makeup. So you want.
Cool. All right. So now she's nice and stuffed and ready to be put on I'm going to bring the camera back over here. So what I'm doing right now is I am using Roxanne's Glue Based It. And Roxanne's Glue Based It is this, wonderful glue. It's getting all over me because it's a little bit on, I need to fix its little thing. No, it's
I think it's not, I think it's screwed on crooked.
I don't think it's the screwed on. I think it's a little plugged. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. So
probably need to rinse out your needle every time you use it.
I did, but obviously it's still stuck a little bit. Anyway, so I can stick my finger on it, and this stuff holds it down so well, and then and then I can sew around it without having any issues. I mean, like it's already sticking my finger to the. And it doesn't take any time at all to dry. And so that's kind of nice. So let's see, this one goes.
Did you already glue down your branch?
I did, Ari. So while you were working, I was gluing stuff down. Am I in camera there? Yes, kind of. Awesome. Whoops. Okay, let me get rid of the drippies. Boom, boom, boom. Didn't realize I was going to glue myself today. Right? No, I went in for a bit. Yeah, right here. There we go. And then we'll put this one down here. Actually, I'm going to wait on him till I figure out where I'm putting this guy. And I'm not ready to glue him down yet. I think I'm going to go ahead and stitch some, and then I will go ahead and get this guy down though. Right. I so want to take off the paper like I'm getting ready to do with the other one. All right, so you're glued on. Okay. I need a paper towel. Making a mess of myself. Right? No, I'm making an even bigger mess of myself. Okay, so a mess. All right, and then we'll get sewing. Okay. And so this one is the iron on. And so I simply turn my iron back on.
So is your bird all glued down?
Bird is all glued down. The only one that's not glued down is this one. I'm going to go ahead and do a little stitching for you, and then we'll finish up for today. And then, well, I'm going to show you how I want to put this guy down, and then probably sneak him in after I get that guy down. All right, so let me get I am not going to iron directly on that minky. I want to use some kind of cover cloth to iron on that minky.
And you probably have to be careful about how hot your iron is. I don't know.
Oop, not hot enough yet.
No, what I'm saying is you want to be careful about possibly melting the minky. I don't know what it.
Willow's never had a problem with that. I asked about that.
Okay. The minky is
but the heat bond likes a lot of heat, so I'm still not getting it.
Yeah, the minky is what all the critters downstairs are made out of.
Yes, no. You guys may be seeing that this doesn't work. Hey, but it is an experiment. I know what I'm going to do. I am going to go upside down. Every time I iron on this stuff, I smell the starch. My husband says I smell like an old lady after I do the starch. I'm like, great, I am an old lady.
If you're an old lady, what am I?
It's starting. I can see the stick happening. Okay. It's coming. There we go.
Now are you going to stitch around that also?
And I am going to stitch around that also. Okay, so the stitch I am going to use, I have like little pieces everywhere.
Minky.
Right. Of Minky. It needs, yeah, I have little pieces everywhere. Okay, so the stitch I'm going to use is a little different. Oh, I'm not sure if I like him where he is. Oh, and I'm stuck. So I'm going to have to make my eye or something happen here. Oh, here we go. It's not glued down yet.
It shifted a little bit
It did.
when you flipped it over.
So that's okay. You know what I'm going to do?
Cheat.
No, you know. Come on, you. Anyway, I'm going to glue that down. Oh, here. I'm going to let you hold that upside down and get that going for me. Okay, the stitch I'm going to use on the machine is different than what I had used previously. I normally use a blanket stitch or I use a zigzag. I am not doing either of those today. I am going to use a stitch that looks like, I'm going to print it out for you so that you can see it. This stitch looks like this. Move that back over here. So this stitch looks like it stitches 3 and then it goes in 1 and it stitches 3 and it goes in 1. Every machine has this stitch. It is a blind hem stitch. And so every machine has it. On the Charlotte here, it is right there, number 11. And so I also want to knock that one down so that, not necessarily that my stitch length is smaller. That is probably fine, but my stitch width, I want to make that as small as I can. That way, when it does the knocking over, it isn't going to be seen. And so I am using a sulky. The sulky is, it's almost like a fishing wire. It's an invisible thread. And that way I don't have to worry about making mistakes. Remember that instant gratification thing? Totally, totally instant gratification. So I have my, come here, give it to me. Thank you. In the bottom, I have I simply have a regular Aurifil 50 weight thread. Works just beautifully. Were you able to get it?
There's a drop.
There's a drop, huh?
Well, I took it apart because it wasn't coming out.
Here's its little thing if you want to try it.
Oh, I used a needle.
All right, so I will start here. I like to have my stitches, of course, going on one side, and then I am just catching my fabric with the other side. I'm going to bring the camera over. Hopefully that camera will be able to see what the needle is doing. How's that, Derek? Fine? Awesome. Okay, and then the other thing I do is I tack. So I do a few stitches in place in the same place. That way I can cut all my thread when I'm done. And in this particular thing, I'm starting at the very edge of my brown. And the nice thing, look at how fast this goes. Like my blanket stitch takes forever. I still need to pivot when I come to corners, and you can't even see that thread except for the little silvery glint on the edge. But it's going to tack it right on down. I am at the green because I am using the invisible thread. I can simply do my tree branch or my pine needles. Oopsie, I'm moving my camera. I can simply do my pine needles. And pivot, and it's so quick. Like, that's the difference. So, you know, it was worth all that gluing because, I mean, the sewing is going so quick. This is different than using the blanket stitch that I normally use. It takes me forever. So, oops. I did not get the end of my, this is where I need to pull out my glasses because I didn't get me the end of my pine needle, but it will be fine. I'll go back and get that later. Whoops. And I'm off, but I'm using clear thread. Nobody will ever know. And I recommend you practice with this just a little bit. Simply because you want to know where your stitches are going to end and where your stitches are going to stop. And that makes sewing it a little bit easier. And it's just pushing it right on down there. Oh, I love it. Okay, so last thing I want to do is, so I want to show you how I wanted to sew down my, oh, come on. I'm trying to do it too quick and talk at the same time. It's still getting stitched down there, and it's at least it's invisible thread. You can't see all the mistakes I'm making.
Yeah, I think I finally got this.
Woo! So, Roxanne's glue paste is back in action.
But I put the thing in it so that it's not going to plug up again.
So now that I have that bottom of the, since I tacked it, I can simply cut that thread off. And so now we'll do one last thing, and that is get our ornament glued on here. Right down there. And I am going to use that Roxanne's glue based it to simply go around. You know, we could use either side.
There's also this if you need it.
Right? We could use either side. We could have gone from the other side and glued down. How cool is that? So, and it gives a little bit of puffiness.
It's
Look
just
at
one
how
layer,
nice that just
one layer
dips right in there. One layer of batting is what she's put in there. And
that's just because you wanted it. That's not.
look at how it just poofs right out like ornaments should. And I'm just going to hold it here for just a second. And I'm going to do the same exact stitch around. And then next week, we're going to add on, I have this cute little blue frilly, and that's going to be the top of my ornament. I had it just a few seconds ago. It's around here somewhere. And then let's see, I need to make sure I get this guy in here. Oops, no worries. Get him right in here like this. And the nice thing about this is that I can get in here underneath where I wanted him, just like that. And if I'm having any problems getting something up, it's not sticking well, I can get, that's what the nice thing about that nice long stick is. I can get under here. It dries clear, you won't see it. So if you make a mess like I'm doing right now, it's not going to matter. See, this is the perfect tools for me. I make a mess all the time. I think I'll get under here a little bit. And you're not staying down because I'm talking too much and not holding you. And we are going to stop there for this time. And here's where we're at. Oh, where's my, I am going to glue him down with glue based it too. I think that I'll be much happier with that. But now that he's stabilized and everything, it's going to be great. And then I'll be much happier. And then we're going to put an eye in here. And I'll go ahead and stitch down everything for next week, or the next time we have the live. I think it's next week. And we will finish up with all the embellishments that we're going to do. We're going to add a few buttons on here for berries. We're going to add a button up here on the top for his hat. We're going to, I'm kind of shifted down here low, so I'm feeling like I might need a a snowflake that poofs out somewhere up here, and to sort of get my focus up a little bit. And then we will finish up the entire notebook. Next week, we'll show you how that's done, and we'll give you directions for the notebook next time we see you. So thank you for joining us for this live. Did we have anybody on, Derek? Not yet. So feel free to leave comments. I will be watching for comments if you have any questions. It is Mistletoe Crossing that we are using, and we will see you next time. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to our channel, and we will see you guys next time.